So we are all familiar with ChatGPT, and we could see a new side of ChatGPT. So one joke goes that, so I might not be allowed to say this. So Japan and Korea claim the sovereignty of Dokdo. But at the end of the day, learning is key to utilize a ChatGPT. And when we listen to the presentation, I realized that if we would like to develop new drug based on marine natural products, ChatGPT could help us. And he introduced a new method of prompt engineering. So input should be better to get better results, the use of marine natural products. And please give another big hand to Mr. Kim.
Next will be the last presenter of this session. We have Dr. Choi Jung-hyun from Mabic. Senior researcher Choi Jung-hyun graduated from Busan National University and got his doctoral degree from U.S. Indiana University and served as a professor at Georgia University, U.S. and currently serves as the senior researcher at Mabic. And he was in charge of the Marine Organism Big Data and Information Center. So please give him a big hand. Good morning. I am Choi Jung-hyun. Thank you for introducing me with eloquent verses, and thank you for giving me the chance to present my ideas. So my thanks go to MOF and organizing committee of World Ocean Forum. So previous speakers mentioned about AI-related data. I also studied engineering, but the previous presentation were really difficult for me to digest. But the thing that I'm going to present is about Marine Organism Big Data Center. And it is more about how we can collect and manage data by the central government and utilize it. The third presenter mentioned about prompt engineering related to ChatGPT. I also use ChatGPT. So while preparing this presentation, I once again realized the importance of data, and I wanted to tell you the story on this. And I thought that the pictures are better than words, but I'm not good at drawing, and it would take a lot of time, so I requested ChatGPT to give me some pictures. So the result is this slide. So I gave the sentences as the prompt. I gave the story and asked ChatGPT to give me the images. And ChatGPT complemented my story and gave out or produced these series of images. So how do you think? Are you satisfied with these images? So I was satisfied with it, but when I tried to use it, I found some problem because the characters in the story look different. And the illustration styles are different for each images, so there's no coherence in this story. And the third speaker mentioned about prompt engineering. If I were a better prompt engineer, then the result might have been better. So this is my story. Let's say we traveled to Jeju Island and found a very new marine organism. We took a picture and got back home. And A didn't didn't record his data, but B wrote a blog post. And the time went by, and A told the story to his colleague on the marine resource. And then the colleague mentioned that he wanted to see it, that marine animal. But A didn't record the data, so he had to go through a hard time finding it. And the memory card broke down, so he lost the picture. But B, if he tells the colleague about the blog post address, then the colleague can see that animal, marine animal, and other people can see that new creature through his blog post. And the photo can be used to develop marine biodata AI algorithm. So my presentation consists of two parts. First is about cross-ministry advancement initiative for national bioresearch resources. And second is about Marine Organism Big Data Information Center, MOBIDIC. In the past, there were R&D projects from each different ministry, and the researcher in charge managed all those data. So when another researcher needs those data, then he or she needed to make requests to that person in charge. But sometime we couldn't get that data. And if the person in charge retired or changed their job, then the data was lost. So the e-peta volume, equivalent volume of data were lost. In order to prevent this phenomenon, so each ministry established a data center to collect and record or store those data. And Ministry of Science and ICT, the Korea KBDS was linked to each ministry's data center. So the researchers can access KBDS or their own ministry's data center to look for that data. So based on the national law, this is the collection and management method of the data, research data. So when the ministry posts a research project, then they need to make an announcement on the mandatory data sharing during research and obligation to verify production data at the research planning stage. And the ministry or the competent authority, when assessing those R&D proposals, then they verify the data management plan appropriateness. And data produced through this R&D project need to be registered in the database. And when doing the final assessment, they need to submit the data in order to get the assessment. So next is about data sharing. So all the data produced by the R&D project should go public. That's mandatory. So person in charge, when he establishes or she establishes the data management plan, DMP, then he needs to plan out the data disclosure time to be within 3 months after the project's completion. If there are special circumstances that make this disclosure difficult, then researcher can postpone or set another timeline. So the image that you see on the right side is the format of DMP. So this mentioned about the content of R&D, and as you can see, there is a data sharing requirement. So in the bio research field, to assess what kind of data is produced, we categorized 15 fields of research. So biodata, we have primary data and metadata. And primary data refers to data produced from certain experiment, for example, DNA sequences or protein structures. And metadata is data to describe those primary data. For example, the R&D project, sample, or identification.
데이터를 체계적으로 우리가 수집하기
To collect the data in a more systematic way, we developed the National Biodata Registration Form. And we have the working support team, working group, expert committee, where we collect opinions of experts. And at the standardization committee, we finalized the forms. And these are the data which have been standardized. So we have the basic data, common data, and research field specific data. So for basic data, we have a project and sample. And for common data, we have omics data. And for research field specific data, we have health, agrobiology, marine and fisheries, as well as environment. And this is part of the form. So as you see, you can see the category and whether it is mandatory, and it has a description and examples. So up to now, I talked about Cross-Ministry Advancement Initiative for National Bioresearch Resources. And from now on, I will talk about the Marine Organism Big Data and Information Center. And the project period was from April 2023 until December 2026. And the budget assigned is 8.31 billion Korean won. And the aim is to establish and manage a marine organism big data center. And what we are doing includes the development of technology for building biodata center and technology for linking to KDBS. And now it is under the pilot project, and you can register data here. And the new services will be added onto the platform in the future. And the data registration system, as I mentioned, is targeting the standardized data. So we have the product samples, and we have different data types under NES. And through this project, we have a standardized microbiome and marine life and marine processes. And we are optimizing the system to get more of these data. For example, if you click on HTS here, you can see the registered data or data under registration process. And if you click on registration on the right side, you can go to the registration page where you can put in relevant information and complete the registration. And to operate the data registration system, we have to provide approval and user support. And we also have the operating guidelines, and registration manuals. And one of the most important axes in this project is the collection and management of the data, but at the same time, we have to analyze the data and develop applicable services. So we have diversified approaches to this, and we have the annotation project so that we can identify the toxicity and venom information of a certain compound. And to predict the gene functions, we are using text mining and deep learning. And we are also doing AI-based peptide prediction. And not only processing data and providing data, we also have to provide an environment for researchers to use the AI and cloud so that they can use the open data for their studies. So in summary, The era of big data and AI is already here. So data collection and sharing is very important. And our projects and marine biotechnology industries could get the help of the advancement of technologies. And Moby Dick would like to efficiently manage data and process data to maximize the usability of such data. And we want to develop the new biomaterials. And we would like you to actively utilize AI in your study so that you can have a higher efficiency. Thank you very much.
최 교수님 수고하셨습니다.
Thank you, Mr. Che, for the presentation.